My biggest fear is not what I know, it's what I don't know. That's what scares me more than anything.
Wise County is more of a rural county.
We've got a lot of rolling plains. We've got some creek and river bottom areas.
While there's a lot of open spaces, there's also lots of random creeks and gullies.
We're experiencing a tremendous amount of growth right now. The Metroplex is exploding. There's a lot of businesses moving to the Wise County area. And with all of that growth, we're experiencing a lot of growth pains.
I think as the county grows and changes, as we change the footprint when we put in hundreds of homes at a time, that begins to change what happens to the landscape.
When you take thousands of acres of native grasslands and you replace those with impermeable concrete and roofs, you're going to change what happens to the water. There's no doubt about it. The problem in question becomes, what is that change going to do?
The county itself, it intersects between two different watersheds, Upper West Fork Trinity as well as Denton. Downstream of these two watersheds are basically Fort Worth and Dallas. So that's also a major concern, and what's happening in Wise County could impact those two highly populated regions.
There's things that we see that we can't necessarily explain, like areas of town that never flooded before and now they'll flood with a very small amount of rain, or drainage issues where water used to run off with no problem, now it may be pools or stands and runs over a very active roadway.
Ideally, we would like to know exactly when to shut down roads that are common low-lying areas that flood a lot, but we just haven't been able to predict that with any kind of accuracy.
I think that flash flooding is not as predictable anymore. New areas are becoming problems that we never experienced before.
I've seen this place flooded many times, but nothing that impacted our roadways and infrastructure like it did in 2014 and 15. One particular, we had about 6 inches of rain in about 30 minutes, and so a heavy downpour. We were doing swift water rescue. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of equipment, so it was just basically manpower going in and retrieving individuals out of their homes and businesses.
The DRIP project is about enabling communities to better understand their flood risk and solve their flood risk problems over the long term.
Urban communities have designations of what we call floodplains, but when it comes to some rural communities, because there is not a lot of focus on them, they're missing some spots. And so technically on paper, they don't have floodplain maps and they should not flood. But we know that's not the case.
We have hydrologists, we have people with engineering backgrounds, we have people with planning backgrounds, we have 3 different institutions involved.
Having people who understand how to put all of these together to create outputs that are actionable in some way is invaluable. DRIP came and met with us, found out where we were in terms of our technology uses, data availability, and look to see what are the problems that they can help solve. And that's either through us not having the capacity to be able to do it ourselves, we're limited in staffing, or not having availability to all of the data, or knowing what to do with all of it necessarily.
DRIP has just been fantastic to work with, and being very just concerned and involved with the process, and has been highly encouraging for us.
DRIP is going to help us find solutions, whether that's a set of data or a runoff calculation or connecting us to a resource that we didn't know existed before. There's things that, as the town manager, I can't explain to a customer when they call with a complaint, but now having the tools in my toolbox from DRIP, I can more speak to them in more of an educated fashion about, hey, look, I don't have an answer for you today, but we are studying this at a very large level to try to find solutions.
We're going to work with you when we want you present. We want to see you in face-to-face, and we want to know who you are, and I think that's the difference with working with DRIP.
They've come in and looked from the perspective of where is it that you are and where do you want to be, and then how do we help you use technology and data to bridge that gap.
The DRIP program really is bringing everybody together under one thought process, under one combined set of data, not only for 1 or 2 cities, but the county as a whole, and being more resilient to things as a team.
Any community that wants to take a serious look at what their hazards are and wants to get closer to being able to obtain information that's actionable for what they can do about those hazards should work with DRIP.